Hello and welcome back to my channel, Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. What if you find out that your wife is having a physical relationship with her boss for over 10 years? Like before you even met her, and all her friends who knew attended your wedding. Now it's time we find out everything about it in today's story. Also, if you like what I do, please give this video a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel.
Sitting here at work, and I haven't seen much of my son this year. Didn't get him for the summer because of the pandemic. Found out at the end of September that my wife of 5 years is seeing someone else. Spent most of my time investigating, which has been a giant can of worms with no apparent bottom. I have to sit there and pretend that nothing is wrong when I just want to tell her to leave. My lawyer just keeps telling me, not yet. I haven't slept in my bed in almost 2 months. No intimacy, which has caused her to accuse me of cheating. If she tries to hug me or kiss me, I have to sit there and take it when it makes me want to vomit. I want her gone, but it's just not yet. There's not much left to burn on my fuse. It's like being locked in a big room with someone, and there's just a table there, and the room echoes, and they start tapping on the table until you just want to flip over the table. I'm just disappointed for putting myself in the position to let someone do this to me again.
OP just wants this to be over and he says he misses his son. Now here is a little background.
I got home late Sunday. It's a long drive, and I didn't really want to see or talk to her. I was tired, so I slept in my chair. I haven't slept well in 2 months, and it was the first 8 hours I had gotten in a while. Monday, my wife tried to initiate, but I just couldn't. My Jackson is up bright and early before me every morning, so this is nothing physical with me. It's just that for once, and it's in total agreement with my mind and heart. This upset her, and we got into a pretty heated argument. I told her maybe it was something wrong with me. I'm 50 years old, and this could happen. She started insinuating again that I'm cheating on her. She said that I'm not being a good husband. We haven't been intimate for over 2 months, so clearly I'm doing something behind her back. She's right, I was doing something behind her back. I was piecing everything together.
Now, D-Day was September 25th.
I work in collision repair. Specifically, I work on the vehicles that are considered train wrecks. September 25, I wound up cutting my leg open on a truck I was working on. That was a trip to the emergency room. I got 5 stitches inside my leg and 34 stitches on the outside. It was pretty bad. I got put on some painkillers, and there was no way I was going to drive. So, I called my wife. No answer. Called 5 minutes later, still no answer. Texted her, "Babe, pick up. I need you. Call me." Called her again, no answer. More texts, nothing. So, I got an Uber to take me home. We turn onto my street, come in view of my house, and she is standing in our doorway, kissing her GM of where she works. I told the driver to stop. This wasn't a peck, folks. They were really into it. She was supposed to be at work. I pulled out my phone, took a couple pictures, and told the driver to keep driving.
OP had the driver take him back to work. He sat there on the break room for almost 4 hours, head down on the table.
Heartbroken. When the painkillers wore off, I drove home, in pain from my leg and from everything going through my head. She wasn't home when I got there. She came a couple hours later. She acted all concerned. Maybe she was, and maybe she wasn't. I don't know. I asked how her day was, and she made up some BS about work that day. A week later, I learned for the first time that she hasn't worked a Friday in 3 years. I was looking for info on dealing with cheaters online, and this sub showed up along with YouTube videos. So, I read stuff here. Just trying to figure out what I should be doing right now. I was reading about all the red flags and just saying, yep, well, that fits her to a T. Always on the phone, always texting. For some reason, can't answer my calls or texts. She had no idea until last Monday that I had sat in the emergency room trying to call her. In 2 whole months, she had not looked at our chat log at all.
The wife was yelling at OP, saying that he needs to be a better husband, that he is not doing enough for her.
I got angry, so I grabbed my phone and showed her those unanswered texts. I rarely raise my voice, but I yelled at her, saying that the one time I needed her to be there for me, I got ghosted. She pulled out her phone, looked, then she left the house for a couple of hours. When she came back, she apologized and then lied right to my face. Oh, she had a hard day at work that day. Didn't notice because she was so busy. The truth is, she didn't know about the calls and texts because she was too busy with her boss in my house. In the time between that day and now, I've snooped and learned I could look at all her communications from one of her old phones. I've installed cameras in the house. I have been watching her activities in real time for 2 months. Let me tell you something. Cheaters should probably start using Android or something because Apple syncs across everything. I've learned that she doesn't just dislike my son, she hates that kid. Probably because him being at my house in the summer and was cramping her style.
OP learned that this relationship has been going on for years and it is not just her boss.
One of the men she has been seeing was a man I have worked with and considered a friend for over 14 years. She works with his wife. His wife has been helping her hide the relationship with her boss. They introduced me to her. They watched me propose to her. They were at the wedding. They let me marry this woman knowing she was cheating on me. I know of 4 men she is seeing. 2 I know, 2 I don't know. I went up to my property where I go to hunt and to get away on the weekend. I invited her. I always ask her to come whenever I go, but she always declines. When I got back, I just watched everything she's been doing behind my back. She didn't even shower and clean herself after. Yeah, there's a camera in the bathroom too. Same thing when I went to Chicago for Thanksgiving. She spent the whole weekend with other men in my home. I almost confronted her, but I just ate the lies she told me.
OP told the wife that he would make an appointment with the doctor for his ED, and then he reads her text to her boss saying she cannot wait for Friday.
This is not the woman I fell in love with 7 years ago. I'm thinking she got severe mental health problems and I did not sign up for this. It was very hard for me to ask her to marry me. Since my first divorce, I had a hard time believing that anything nice a woman said to me was what she really meant. I've chased off 2 fantastic women in my life because I was still messed up from my first wife. I'm holding everything in, just getting lied to all the time. Even when she doesn't need to lie, she lies. I no longer love this woman. Let's be clear, there will be no working this out. I've checked out. My anniversary is a day that will live in infamy. Pearl Harbor Day. I'm going to make sure she remembers it. But the seconds seem like hours. All the therapy I've gone through, it's all gone.
Now, here is the first update.
I had her served yesterday. I woke up and left the house, waited for her to leave for work, went back home and changed the locks. My friend and her husband came over. We packed up her things. We loaded up her furniture and took it to storage. Put all her clothes in garbage bags. Was going to throw her dirty clothes in with the clean, but my friend wouldn't let me. At around lunchtime, I went to her work with flowers and candy, gave her a big hug and a kiss. She was all smiles and blushes. Her coworkers were doing the "aw, that's so sweet" thing. I told her that I would love to take her to lunch, but I had to go get a checkup on my leg, but to not make plans for the night because I wanted to give her a night she would remember.
OP gave her a goodbye kiss and started walking out.
As I was leaving, I saw her boss and gave him a big smile and said, "Hey, how are ya?" Gave him a wave and left. At 2 p.m., a deputy would be walking into my wife's work to serve her. At the same time, I was standing in front of her boss's house. I texted him the picture I took on the day I caught them, along with a selfie in front of his house. I knocked on the door, and boss's wife answered. She knows me a little from their office parties. I told her that my wife and her husband were having a relationship. She didn't believe me. I showed her that first picture I took, then a selfie they took on my couch, and she slapped me. I just stood there, and she started crying. I gave her a thumb drive with everything. I told her my wife is seeing multiple men, so for her to get checked for STDs. I gave her my lawyer's card and my number. Then she asked why I was doing this to her. And to be honest, why did I do that? I hurt her pretty bad.
OP feels like the biggest POS for doing that. But he told her that she has the right to know about her husband's behavior.
As I was leaving, that's when my phone started ringing. Didn't answer. Later, when I got home, I started reading the text from my wife. "What's this? What are you doing?" I messaged her back and said to come at 7 p.m. and not 1 minute before to get her clothes. My friend that covered up for my wife, Amber, called and I asked her, "How long have you known about my wife and boss?" She said, "The whole time, since before my wife and I had met. All this time, I was the side piece. My whole marriage was a joke." She said she kept it secret because she was her friend. I asked, "What about me?" I asked her if I knew her husband was cheating, wouldn't she want me to tell her? She said yes. So I hung up and sent her pictures of my wife and her husband and told her never to contact me again.
7 p.m. rolls around and the wife showed up at the house.
She looked pretty subdued. Pretty sure she and Amber had gotten into it by then. I gave her clothes, the storage key and address, my lawyer's card. Told her that all contact with me would be through her. My wife started with the "I love you. We can work this out. She's sorry. She loves me. A mistake. She doesn't love them. It didn't mean anything, etc." I just pointed at my lawyer's card. This is when she got really loud. All the "I love yous" turned into "d yous" and "I hate yous." I remained fairly calm and had my hands at my side through this. She kept screaming at me. I think she might have been drinking. She started crying that she had nowhere to go, and I told her that I don't care. There's almost 600 unanswered texts and calls on my phone and growing. I'm going no contact with our mutual friends. I don't want any of them trying to mediate things.
We have the last update coming up, but before that, if you're enjoying the story so far, please give this video a thumbs up so it will reach more and more beautiful people like you. Now, here is the last update.
I met with her and her lawyer today. I didn't get everything I wanted, but I got enough. We signed for an uncontested divorce. It will be official in about 2 months. That's the good news. I feel some relief from this, but really sad about the whole thing. First off, she did not or could not look at me through almost the entire proceeding. I'm not going to pretend to know what was going through her mind, but I would like to think that she just couldn't look me in the eye. She got a decent lawyer. They asked if reconciliation was possible, and we did dangle it, even though it is not possible. We asked for full disclosure of what she did. He had already had her write it out. What she wrote down, however, was less than what I already knew. I read what she wrote down, and, conveniently, the 2 fellas I didn't know the identity of were not included in it. My lawyer produced stills from the camera footage. "Who's this?" and "Who's this?" Well, she wasn't very forthcoming with him either. They asked us to step out. We did. I didn't catch every word, but he didn't sound too pleased.
When they came back in, OP got more truthful version of the whole thing.
The 2 guys were online meetups and very recent. She'd been having a relationship with the boss for more or less the whole time I've known her. She said she broke it off with him sometime after I proposed and until about a year into our marriage. I think I believe her on that. I mean, I shouldn't believe anything she says, but I did ask if she was ever faithful during our marriage. She started having physical relations with my coworker, Amber's husband, on July 4th of 2019 at the barbecue we had at my house while I was there. Said she didn't love him, she was just having fun. During this year, she got bolder and started meeting up with random guys from online sites. I'm pretty sure she probably had some parking lot meetups and such, but I didn't press on that.
Now, OP asked the attorneys to give them the room for a bit because he wanted to ask some private stuff from the wife.
They walked out. I asked her why. Not why she cheated, why she married me. Why didn't she say no? She said she loved me. Huh, great way of showing it. She wanted to be married. She wanted the security. I was good in bed, but she's loved the boss for 10 years. He wasn't leaving his wife, and her clock was ticking. So I was a meal ticket, basically. She said I made her happy, but she wanted what she wanted. For those asking, they have both been fired from their jobs. I didn't need to make a stink about anything. Soon-to-be ex-wife is living with her parents. I don't know what boss and Mrs. are doing. I was told it is none of my business. I think he is trying to stay married.
OP asked the wife if there was anything else he ought to know.
She told me she got a termination 2 years ago because she didn't know who the father was. Wow, that was a low blow. In the beginning, we tried to have a kid, but we opted for the quit trying and enjoy the intimacy approach. I would have loved to have another kid, like a daughter. I had unprotected relations with my wife near daily, and there's a huge chance this kid was mine. I will never know. This was enough to make me get up and walk out. I called the lawyers back in, told mine to go to Plan B. Plan B is I took my demand for alimony off of the table. I want the divorce agreement uncontested and signed. This is the fastest way. I wanted to say condition 2 to reconcile was for her to undo all those other men. You know, something impossible, but there's no point to being clever here. Not going to lie, what she told me about the pregnancy had me rattled.
OP confirms that he doesn't want a monthly reminder of this woman, even in a form of a paycheck.
So, she signed. In around 2 months, it will be official. I keep my house, my retirement funds, all my property, no alimony for either of us. She gets $73,000 from our savings, is not to contact me ever, and we are done. I do not care what happens to her now. I don't want to know what she'll do. I don't care. For her own good and anyone she meets in the future, I hope she goes to a psychiatrist. I, in no way, feel like a weight has been lifted off of me. I've had nothing to be happy about for 3 months, and I am not happy now. Right now, I just want to be left alone.
Edit. The empty house has been getting to me. I wound up moving a new girl in. She is the cutest little Latina I have ever seen. She is about 8 inches at the shoulder, weighs 5 pounds, and has an underbite. I'm torn between calling her Maggie or high fructose corn syrup because she is so sweet. I pick up a 1-year-old Chihuahua from the pound. Just needed someone happy to see me when I get home. My now ex-wife called me today. I figured what's done it's done, so I had a chat with her. She's so messed up more than I am. She did not apologize. She asked what good would that do. I honestly don't know if she really regrets what she did to me, but it really doesn't matter now. Well folks, that's all. Thank you all for listening. Please like, comment and share the video if you enjoyed it. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.